There's something that we carry that also creates jealousy. And if you will notice that this is exactly that was at play then. And this is the thing, as you will see, that actually plays a very crucial role in setting you apart. It is called an excellent spirit. There is not any man, prophet, psychic, whatever you may call them, that has stood in front of masses and has been that detailed and that specific about things year in, year out, and you have seen them before you.
Prophet Elvis Mbonye, the prophet with an unmatched record of prophetic fulfillments.
These prophecies are indications that you are indeed in the presence of the testimony of Jesus, who is, or which is, the spirit of prophecy.
In our day, all the forces, kingdoms, rulers, and powers of the world have been given to one man, Prophet Elvis Mbonye, in whose hand God has committed a supreme authority to not only position the children of God over the nations of the world, but to preserve them as well.
South Africa is once again dealing with a level of violence that shocked many inside the country and abroad.
1st January 2019.
I was praying again in the spirit, and then I stopped in a place, in a trance, and this was election time in South Africa. Election time in South Africa, and there was panic, and then I had the caution in me while I was there. I had the caution that this is building up to be similar to what happened in Kenya. I had that sensing about what I was experiencing prior to the elections, which I later learned actually this year in South Africa. And then I got out of it, and I was also asked of the Lord to pray and command the darkness, because it will be dark, to be removed away from that time, to be shaken away from that time, such that the people in that place may not go back into turmoil, because there was a thing of almost like, it's almost like an assembly, the whole thing like removed, like let us do this again. That was South Africa. So I prayed and I said, this doesn't look good. So I prayed about it, and I'm believing that the hand of God will be upon that nation, that when you begin to see signs like that, the hand of God will straighten it out.
4 months later, during the election season, violent protests rocked the nation and intensified till it seemed highly fatal.
Supposed to vote, but what we're getting after that vote, no service, no nothing.
That's why some residents protested, barricading roads with burning tires and rocks, demanding the government delivers better services and living conditions.
A nation in protest. People fighting for basic services. As the May 8th election approaches, many believe these protests are the only way politicians will address their concerns.
we are going to protest, we're going to close roads, we're going to shut down church. That's the only way they can hear us.
Government officials, instead of taking accountability for their failures, they then blame the migrants, for the social ills like, crime.
Johannesburg's Mayor Herman Mashaba says the problem is economic, not xenophobia. But many people blame Mashaba himself for inciting violence. He's blamed many of the city's problems on uncontrolled numbers of undocumented foreigners. But the argument around immigration, echoing those heard in the U.S., are likely to get only louder as Election Day nears.
Horrific scenes coming out of our election broadcast in Hope Bay. We've been trying absolutely everything to keep this broadcast going.
Because the prophet prayed and preserved the nation, the South African elections ended without experiencing the very likely darkness and violence similar to the one Kenya had experienced. The prophet mentioned the nation of South Africa going into a season of darkness, and he prayed that its nation would not descend back into the turmoil that had happened before as soon as the signs had shown up. True to this word, a few months after the election saw a resurgence in xenophobic attacks in South Africa, similar to what they had experienced a few years before, an incident the prophet had also revealed beforehand.
South Africa is once again dealing with a level of violence that shocked many inside the country and abroad. There have been days of looting and attacks, mostly targeting foreign-owned businesses in cities like Johannesburg and Pretoria. At least 5 people have been killed and police have arrested hundreds of suspects.
More than 100 people have been arrested for public violence, arson and looting. But in some areas, the police seem overwhelmed, making it easy for some people to stay in the street.
Prophet Elvis Mbonye walks in a new wave prophetic grace and glory of God that reigns supreme and renders the forces of this world powerless before this anointing, speaking a word that not only prospers and establishes those who will heed it, but also preserves the nations all around the world. And for the indescribable privilege of hosting this unmatched prophet and witnessing his peculiar display consistently, all to usher us into our God-given dominion, we accord all merit, reverence, and double honor to the supreme authority of this dispensation, the prophet to the nations, Prophet Elvis Mbonye.
This exactly is the reason the Lord brings you before a prophet. If the prophet can pick up on something that has not yet showed up in the physical, and he declares it to you, and you see it, he can tell you that your money is being counted. Glory to God. I hear a sound of an abundance. Glory to God.
To become an heir of gold, visit our partnership desk every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. at Zoe Grounds opposite KCCA Stadium, or visit our website at www.prophetelvis.com/heirs of gold. It's a lifestyle.
Let's go to Daniel chapter 6. It says, and it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom you can put your name, was first. Now, in other words, here is a secular kingdom, and in this secular kingdom, there are apparently 3 presidents, and one of them is a remnant of God. These are the ones who are supposed to rule. You see, it says that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Verse 3. Then this Daniel was preferred. I am giving you your pattern just. Then this was preferred above the presidents and princes and CEOs and whatever, and MPs, and because an excellent spirit that he got from here. Okay. There's something that we carry that also creates jealousy. And if you will notice that this is exactly that was at play then. And this is the thing, as you will see, that actually plays a very crucial role in setting you apart. It is called an excellent spirit. Not kavyo, you know. It says, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him. You notice that? And the king thought to set him over the whole realm now. Not just about these guys, being equal. No, he says now over the whole. He thought about, now let me put this one overall because he has an excellent spirit. Verse 4. Then the presidents and princesses and Pharisees and Sadducees and high priests and reverend fathers sought to find an occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. There was a day when men were gathered in this land. And as they were gathered, they were given a certain agenda. Okay, we'll talk about it later. So, in the middle of it, okay, let's go on. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasions against Daniel. I'm building you into it. I'm entering there, you'll see. But they could find, he says, then the presidents and princesses and reverend fathers and what sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. But they could find none occasion, no fault. Why? Because this president had actually, in a public meeting, sounded something about this Daniel here. Okay. But they could find none occasion, no fault, for as much as he was faithful. Neither was there any error or fault found in him. Verse 5. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. In other words, let's attack something about his God. Now verse 6. Then those presidents and princesses made an interreligious, okay, I read it wrongly. Then these presidents and princesses made an elders, okay. Then these presidents and princesses, now I've offended some of you, and princesses assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. And for him, that's what he wants. You are, okay. Now I'm talking about the Darius. Okay. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes and the counselors and the captains have consulted together. We have had consultation. Whenever you hear that word consultation, know that it started these days, these ends. And know that they're just cohorts of darkness. It's normally just cohorts of darkness. This just consulting in the realm of darkness amongst each other. So when you hear, I'm telling you, whenever you hear consultations were held, just know. It says, all the presidents of the kingdom and the governors and princesses, that's what they were telling the king. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princesses, the counselors, and the pastors and the priests, because we have one pastor here, we have some priests here, we have a sheikh here, he says, have consulted together to establish a royal statute. And to whomsoever shall ask a petition of any god or any man for 30 days, save thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, in other words, they were saying this. We have found that the state should master spiritual affairs. That people should not be left to have their own God. This is how they consider and say it now. And Daniel, notice, Daniel, the guy who had the oracles of God, the secret counsels of God, was not in there. The people who had never heard God were the ones who were somehow wanted to regulate godly affairs. Okay, again, verse 7, and all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princesses, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save you, O king. That's what you want, eh? He shall be cast into the den of lions. Verse 8. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of Uganda, which changes not. We should obey the law. This is legal. Verse 9. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open. Glory to God. Now I'm telling you something here. Now these fellows somehow think that by signing a certain paper that you've taken away an anointing from someone. Like, really? Like, how stupid can you be? Really? You sign something and you think that the anointing now... First of all, we prophesy. So we can't go in your theological schools because you are there and you don't prophesy. Therefore, they don't teach prophecies. So are you doing away with the prophetic ministry? Anyway, but now, you see, the thing is this. That some people, I just laugh. Some people actually think that a paper can stop the work of God, the move of God. A paper. Okay. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house and his windows being opened. Now, while the rest of the Christians were saying, oh, obey what? They are those. He says, he went into his house and his windows being opened in his chamber towards Jerusalem. He didn't say, we shall pray secretly because God here. No. He says, now you see me. Before he actually used to glow, but now actually, see me now. His chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled down upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Verse 11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. So in other words, he was the target all along. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house and his window being opened in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Verse 12. Then they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. You remember your writing? Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save all thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, because obviously he's a politician, the king answered and said, according to the law of the Medes and Persia, which altereth not, it is true. Verse 13. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee. He doesn't put on colors, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Verse 14. Then the king, when he heard these words, was so displeased with himself. Now, in other words, this king was working against his conscience. He actually was just a people-pleasing guy. As long as he was cornered, he would do things that were against his conscience. He says, then the king, when he heard these things, was so displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. Now he wanted to save Daniel. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Can you imagine? Verse 15. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establishes may be changed. Verse 16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spoke and said unto Daniel, Your God whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Verse 17. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of the lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music, nor before him, whether it is hip hop or rap, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spoke and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God. Now here is a guy. He secretly has an admiration for Daniel, but he's also a fake politician. He cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spoke and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God whom thou servest continually able to deliver you from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocence was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Verse 23. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. Verse 24. And the king commanded, and they brought those fellows. Now this is where the prophecy is starting. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions. They are suffering the fate which they had created themselves. Cast them into the den of lions. Them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery over them, and break all their bones in pieces, all ever. They came out at the bottom of the den. Verse 25. Then King Darius wrote unto all the people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men tremble and fear before the God of Elvis. Okay. Now you see, for he is the living God, and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be unto the end. Glory to God.
can now listen, purchase, download, and watch supernatural, life-awakening messages from Prophet Elvis Mbonye on your laptop, tablet, phone, and all other devices at your own convenience, anywhere from your cars to your homes and workplaces by visiting prophetelvis.com/shop.
Tomorrow about this time, you surely will be in a better place. Glory to God. Hallelujah. Tomorrow about this time, you surely will be in a better place. Glory to God.
Prophet Elvis Mbonye, Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. at Zoe Grounds opposite KCCA Stadium, Lugogo, Kampala, Uganda. Connect with Prophet Elvis Mbonye by going to www.prophetelvis.com/Facebook, prophetelvis.com/Twitter, prophetelvis.com/Instagram, and prophetelvis.com/YouTube. For this and more information, visit our website at www.prophetelvis.com.